developing really strong roots with some of those people. And I'm just speaking in general. Some people probably met their best friends or their spouses in college or whatever. That's great. I'm just speaking in general about the actual connections, the human connections that you have as a foundation, as the root. Guess what? That's dying slowly. This technology is taking over, y'all. Like, love notes, handwritten notes, thing of the past. Like, kids nowadays don't even know what the whole "do you like me" check yes or no thing feels like. But I'm saying all that to talk about how the more and more we get separated from each other, the more and more we're going to suffer, because we're not taking the masks off. Everybody's walking around with a mask on, smiling, everybody's happy, everything's great, and we don't want to share because we're embarrassed, or I don't want to burden people, I don't want to, it's embarrassing. We need to normalize this thing. It is okay to be stressed to the max because you got 3 kids and your husband ain't helping at home and you got to drive the kids to daycare, plus you got to try to get to work on time and you have no help, right? But everybody from the outside, they see you married, you got help, so what you complaining about? Right? You can't help it if your spouse isn't helping you. So it's little things like that, y'all, that will creep up and cause all kind of havoc and chaos in your life. Before you know it, you're crying every morning. Hey, Bonita Drewy, happy Sunday. You're crying every morning. You can barely make it out the door on time. When little things start happening like that, guys, that's starting to affect your mental health. So it's that daily structure, that daily routine, that daily, what are you eating, your activity level, what you're feeding your mind. I always talk about music. I talk about reading. I talk about iron sharpens iron. I say that as much as I can. Be around people who make you want to be better. I got into a really interesting discussion with one of my loved ones recently, and I kept saying, what value is that person adding? And it's okay if you're like, every person that comes into my life doesn't have to add something. I get that. But I just feel like sometimes we're on assignment. I just had that conversation with my uncle too. And I had to learn that the hard way. I used to be super, super all about reciprocation, if you know what that means. Like, if you're my friend, I want to at least know we cool if I'm like doing all these things for you. Because I'm super, super generous, you guys. I'm super loving. And I just love people. Since I was a kid, I love making people happy. When I was little, I would make handwritten cards for my mom or my siblings, or just thinking of you and just to make a person smile for some reason, which I talked about that recently though on my podcast. I learned in therapy why I grew up to be a perfectionist like that. For whatever reason, I was super literal. So when someone said, "Oh my God, that was a beautiful apple," I took it literally and thought, "Oh my God, I just created the most beautiful apple in the world." And it's like, I want that reaction from everybody if I do something nice, right? So that's a horrible pattern to start as a kid. And as an adult, I had to deprogram myself, and it took a long time. Even now, there are times when I catch myself, But that's why I hop on here with makeup, without makeup. You'll see me crying or not crying. And it's not that I'm dramatic and my life is a mess. It doesn't even matter if it was, but that's not my purpose for doing those things. I'm being vulnerable because I truly want to walk in my purpose by being an example. So for the 7.75 years that I've been sober, I've talked about this with my siblings. They'll tell you, they can vouch for me that I've been like, I'm not going public until I can truly present something, right? I want to be my brand. So when I talk about promoting positive mental health, I'm not going to sit here and be like, stay active, make sure you eat right, make sure you talk to your psychiatrist, make sure you go to therapist. If I'm not doing it, if I haven't done any of it, I'm not sitting here promoting that. And so that's big for me, So when I go and do my women's retreats and stuff, you're going to experience things that I've researched, that I've experienced myself, that I bring people in. It's like, to me, that's promoting positive mental health on a level where we haven't seen it. We just don't talk about it enough. I want to get in our schools and talk to our younger people about emotions and feelings. Like Jay So Toxic said, like, he's in his 30s, and I don't know about you guys, but I talked about this too. We didn't talk about mental health in my home. I never even heard the term mental health until I went to college and wanted to be a psychiatrist. I didn't even know that's what psychiatrists did. I just knew they helped people. I thought it was like they just help them with their behavior, like the person's having a problem. Man, did I not realize you got to go to medical school first. I was like, peace out, we can't do that. So I became a therapist. Okay, so Benita too. Benita said it wasn't talked about in her home. Thank you, Benita. But yeah, It wasn't. I'm trying to think. And in my podcast, I talked about the fact that we could have used some anger management